Breaking news from the heart of Indianapolis. The franchise faces a massive crossroad that nobody saw coming after the draft. Anthony Richardson was supposed to be gone, but he is still here. The former 4th overall pick is stuck in a jersey he tried to leave behind. After the team declined his 5th-year option, the future looks darker than ever for the young star. The trade market stayed silent, and now the quarterback room is a pressure cooker. This is the ultimate reality check for a player once called the future of the Colts. The tension is reaching a breaking point right now. The city of Indianapolis is buzzing with a mix of confusion and frustration. Everyone thought the chapter was closing when the team allowed Anthony Richardson to seek a trade back in February. We all expected him to be wearing different colors by the time the draft concluded. But the phone never rang with the right offer. The market was colder than a January morning at Lucas Oil Stadium. Now we find ourselves in an incredibly awkward situation where a player who wanted out is forced to stay in. To make matters even more complicated, the front office decided not to pick up his 5th-year option. That is a loud and clear message from the organization. They are not willing to bet the long-term future of the franchise on him anymore. It is a stunning fall from grace for a man who was once the centerpiece of every highlight reel. Now he is just another body in the quarterback room trying to justify his spot on the roster. The atmosphere around the team facilities must be thick with unease as everyone prepares for a training camp battle that no one predicted. We are looking at a high-stakes drama that could redefine the season before it even kicks off. Daniel Jones is currently the man at the top of the depth chart, which means the real fight is happening just beneath him. It is a battle for survival, and the stakes could not be higher for a former top 5 selection. The fans are divided between those who still believe in the raw talent and those who are ready to turn the page entirely. This story is about more than just football. It is about a young man trying to find his way in a league that moves on very quickly. The dream of being the face of the franchise is fading fast, and the reality of being a backup is setting in. The next few months will determine if he can salvage his career in the Circle City, or if this is truly the end of the road. There is still a very real path for Anthony Richardson to win the backup job and remind everyone why he was such a high draft pick. Let us look at the pure physical gifts that this young man brings to the table. Riley Leonard is a solid athlete, but he does not possess the game-breaking speed or the cannon arm that Richardson has. When you watch Richardson at his best, you see a player who can make every single throw on the field and then outrun the fastest linebackers in the league. Those are traits that you simply cannot teach. He makes defensive coordinators stay awake at night because he is a constant threat to score from anywhere on the gridiron. If he can harness that power, he becomes the ultimate insurance policy for the Colts. He has also had the unique advantage of time. People forget that he has spent significant time learning from some of the best minds in the business. He sat behind Daniel Jones during the previous season and soaked up everything he could. He also had the chance to pick the brain of Philip Rivers, who is a legend in this league. That kind of mentorship is invaluable for a young quarterback who needs to master the mental side of the game. If he has used this time to reflect on his mechanics and his decision-making, we might see a completely different version of him this summer. A mature and disciplined Richardson is a scary prospect for any opponent. He knows the system and he knows the expectations of the coaching staff. If he shows up to camp with a chip on his shoulder and a refined passing motion, it will be very hard for the team to keep him on the bench. He just needs to stay healthy and prove that he can be a reliable professional. The ceiling for his potential is still higher than almost anyone else in the league. It is all about whether he can put the pieces together before the clock runs out on his time in Indy. The fans want to see that spark again, and the coaching staff is waiting for a reason to believe. However, there is a very strong argument for why Riley Leonard will ultimately take that backup spot away from him. We have to look at the most recent evidence on the field, and that evidence favors Leonard. When Leonard was forced into a starting role against the Houston Texans, he showed a level of grit and poise that we rarely saw from Richardson. Facing a ferocious defense led by DeMeco Ryans is a nightmare for any young quarterback, but Leonard handled it with veteran composure. He put up over 270 passing yards and accounted for 3 touchdowns against one of the better units in the league. That performance gave the coaching staff a lot of confidence that they can trust him when the lights are at their brightest. Reliability is the most important trait for a backup quarterback, and Leonard has it in spades. On the flip side, the numbers for Richardson are quite concerning when you dig into them. In almost every game he has started, he has struggled with basic accuracy. He only has a couple of performances where his completion percentage was respectable for an NFL starter. For a quarterback in his 3rd year, that is a massive red flag. You cannot sustain drives if you cannot complete the easy passes. The coaching staff needs to know that if the starter goes down, the offense will not fall apart. Leonard provides that stability while Richardson remains a wild card. There is also the issue of turnovers and reading the field. We have seen too many plays where Richardson looks completely lost against simple defensive schemes. He misses wide-open receivers and holds the ball too long in the pocket. These are fundamental mistakes that should have been corrected by now. If the team feels that he has plateaued, then they have no choice but to move forward with Leonard. The NFL is a results business, and Leonard has shown that he can produce under pressure. Richardson has the highlights, but Leonard has the consistency. That could be the deciding factor when the final roster is set. The technical and mental lapses from Richardson are becoming harder and more painful to ignore as time goes on. We all remember that preseason game against the Baltimore Ravens that served as a microcosm of his entire career. He had two receivers running wide open on the right side of the field, but he never even looked their way. He was locked in on the left side and failed to see a free rusher coming off the edge. That mistake led to a devastating hit that injured his hand and sidelined him once again. That is a play that a third-year quarterback simply has to make. It shows a lack of field awareness that is terrifying for a coach like Shane Steichen. Steichen runs a complex offense that requires the quarterback to make quick and accurate reads. If the coaching staff does not believe that Richardson can execute the scheme, they will move on without hesitation. It really feels like the organization has already checked out emotionally. Declining the fifth-year option is the ultimate vote of no confidence. It tells the world that they do not see him as a long-term solution. When a team loses faith in a player, it is very hard to earn it back. The reports coming out of the building suggest that the staff is much more comfortable with the steady hand of Riley Leonard. They want a quarterback who will follow the script and protect the football. Richardson is a gambler who takes too many risks with his body and the ball. His injury history is another major factor that cannot be ignored. You cannot help the team if you are always in the training room. Every time he takes a big hit, the entire stadium holds its breath. That is no way to run a successful football team. The reality is that Richardson might just be who he is at this point. He is a high-ceiling athlete who lacks the floor of a professional passer. In a league where jobs are on the line, coaches will always choose the player they can trust. Leonard is that player, and Richardson is starting to look like a draft bust. The final verdict for the upcoming season seems clear, even if it is difficult for many fans to accept. Anthony Richardson is likely going to lose this competition and find himself sitting at the bottom of the depth chart. While he has the physical tools to be a superstar, he has not shown the growth or the reliability needed to hold down a job in this league. Riley Leonard has proven that he can compete at a high level and provide the stability that the Colts desperately need. Unless a trade happens at the last minute, Richardson will be the third-string option and will probably not see the field at all in 2026. This is a tragic turn of events for a player who had so much promise on draft day. The transition from being the future of the franchise to being an afterthought is a cold reality of professional sports. It is time for everyone to prepare for a new era in the quarterback room. Do you think the Colts are making a massive mistake by giving up on Anthony Richardson so soon, or is it finally time to move on to Riley Leonard? We want to hear exactly what you think about this situation in the comments below, because the fans are the heart of this team. If you love the Indianapolis Colts and want the latest updates on every roster move and breaking story, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel right now. Your support helps us keep the conversation going and ensures you never miss a beat when it comes to our beloved team. Join the community and stay tuned for more.